The last 90 days, 11 of the most brilliant minds in America have vanished. We aren't talking about people who simply quit their jobs or went off the grid for a weekend. We're talking about high-level researchers with keys to the most classified nuclear and aerospace labs on the planet. They didn't leave notes, they didn't take their phones, and they didn't say goodbye. They just blinked out of existence. Take Major General William Neil McCasland. He wasn't just a retired Air Force commander. He was the former head of the Air Force Research Laboratory with deep ties to what the government calls unidentified anomalous phenomena. In February 2026, he left his phone, his glasses, and his wearable devices on his nightstand and walked out of his home in Albuquerque. He hasn't been seen since. Then there's Monica Jacinto Reza. She is a pioneer in metallurgy and rocket propulsion at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. The person who literally co-invented the nickel superalloys that allow our rocket engines to survive extreme heat. She vanished while hiking in the Angeles National Forest. No trace, no equipment found, just an empty trail. While the FBI is spearheading an investigation into these cases, the James Webb Telescope has been busy sending back data from a place we call the zone of avoidance. It is the ultimate blind spot in our galaxy, a massive curtain of dust that blocks our view of the deep universe. But something back there is tugging on us. Is it just a coincidence that our top scientists are disappearing at the exact moment we finally learned how to look through that fog? Now, you might think this is just 2026 being weird. But history doesn't repeat, it rhymes. To understand why names like McCasland and Reza are being whispered in congressional hearings today, we have to look back at the Marconi scandal of 1982. Back in the 80s, over 25 British scientists working on Star Wars defense technology died in ways that defy all logic. These were experts in plasma and rocketry, found in accidents that the police immediately labeled as suicides, even when the physics of the crime scenes made no sense. Why does this matter now? Because the Marconi scientists were looking at the propulsion systems of the future, and our 2026 scientists, they were looking at the Vela supercluster every time we get close to a breakthrough that fundamentally changes how we understand energy, gravity, or space. The people holding the keys seem to vanish. This isn't just a handful of hikers getting lost. We are talking about Nuno Loureiro, the director of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center, and Carl Grillmeyer, a Caltech astrophysicist who specialized in infrared telescopes, the very tech used to see through cosmic dust. Both met violent or unexplained ends within months of each other. Now, let's get technical for a second, but keep it sharp. The zone of avoidance isn't a sci-fi trope. It's a massive gray triangular shadow in our sky caused by the Milky Way's own gas and stars. For decades, we were effectively blind to 20% of the universe. But thanks to the Meerkat radio telescope and infrared processing, we've finally pierced that veil. Behind that dust sits what researchers are calling Vela Banzi. In the Isi-Hosa language, that means revealing widely, and it is an absolute beast. We are talking about a mass equivalent to 30 million billion suns. To put that in perspective, if our Milky Way is a single house, the Vela Banzi is an entire continent, and it has two massive cores that are currently screaming toward each other. This isn't just sitting there. It is an active gravitational engine that is distorting the cosmic flow of every galaxy in our local neighborhood. Scientists are struggling to explain why such a massive gravitational player remained completely undetected until now. They say it was just the dust. But when you have something that rivals the Shapley supercluster, the heavyweight champion of the universe, hiding in your backyard, you start to wonder if the blind spot was intentional. NASA calling this a coincidence is like me calling a supermassive black hole a minor gravity leak. Recent data suggests this isn't just a random pile of stars, it's an anchor. And the math behind what's holding it together is making the scientific community very, very nervous. This brings us to the direct collapse theory. We used to think black holes were just the corpses of dead stars, but the James Webb Telescope just proved that in the early universe, massive clouds of gas skipped the star phase entirely and collapsed directly into primordial monsters. These aren't just holes in space, they are the literal skeletons of the cosmos. If the Vela supercluster is anchored by these direct collapse giants, it means the structure of our universe is far more deliberate and far older than we ever imagined. Did our missing scientists realize that something in that zone of avoidance is actually responding to our presence? As of May 2026, the House Oversight Committee is demanding answers on non-traditional physics and plasma propulsion. Are these 11 researchers victims of a terrestrial cover-up? Or were they recruited for a project we aren't supposed to know about for another 50 years? But the government isn't just looking into it anymore. In April 2026, FBI Director Kash Patel officially announced a federal probe into these 11 cases. He stated, and I quote, "If there are any connections that lead to nefarious conduct, this FBI will make the arrests." When the FBI starts spearheading an investigation into space scientists, you have to ask, are they looking for missing people or are they looking for a leak? Whether it's the Marconi scandal of the 80s or the silence of 2026, the message is clear. The closer we get to a truth that changes the world, the quieter the room gets. Stay curious. The stars are watching. Subscribe for more.